Hey, welcome to episode 2, and today I'm going to go over the listing agreement and some other paperwork that you'd be signing with a real estate agent at your home when it comes to putting your home on the market. Now, this one's going to be a little bit longer because myself, I do not sign contracts unless I read word for word. It's real awkward at the car dealership when I buy something. Because at the end of the day, I will not electronically sign something until I've read it from start to finish, and I expect you to do the same. So I'm going to go over the contracts, specifically 4 things, well technically 3 documents that you need to sign. And then the last one is going to be the ABCs of understanding agency relationship, which means when you partner with an agent, I'm part of the National Association of Realtors, things that you can expect. Now, I'm not going to bore you with a 40-minute long video going line by line. I'm going to give a brief overview. And if you want any of these documents, just text me at 478-888-7808 or leave a comment below and I'll just send you a copy. Personally, I don't care if you read the contract from start to finish because at the end of the day, I don't expect you to sign anything that you don't understand yourself, okay? I wouldn't do it. I don't expect you to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, probably on Zoom. That's the only platform that I have. So I'm going to cut over here real quick and let's start from the top. Hey, welcome over to the documents. First and foremost, I want to start with the ABCs of agency, understanding real estate brokerage relationships in Georgia. It's a 2-page document. I send this to every single client that I ever work with, but I want to go over 2 quick things. I do not do dual agency in the state of Georgia. What dual agency means is I, for example, would represent the seller and I would represent the buyer. Can't do that here in the state of Georgia. You have a fiduciary duty to the party that you represent to make sure that you give them the best experience possible, right? And let's say, for example, I'm listing your home and I tell the buyer, hey, by the way, there's this, and this. I think if you offer this, you'll get a good deal. It doesn't work that way, okay? I can't negotiate against you because I'm not giving you the best deal possible, okay? There's also something here in the state of Georgia called clients versus customers, okay? I can be your client. Also, I can represent a buyer as a customer and just fill in the blank. Again, I don't think that's the best route. Sure, I can make a double commission, right? I would get the buyer's commission and I would get the selling commission, but I refuse to do that because I can't sell your house to a buyer properly. And what I mean by that is I can't go into your house and sell, and make that buyer put in an offer on your property without giving up some of the duty that I have to you. And what I mean by that is it's my responsibility to represent the seller and get the absolute best deal possible, sell the house for the highest price, and negotiate super hard to make sure that the buyer doesn't have any contingencies. I want to market that house, get offers within the first few days, and make sure that the buyer's back is up against the wall. And if they want the house, they need to make an amazing offer and not come to the table with contingencies, with extended due diligence period times, with all of these requests. Okay, so what I do specifically, somebody on my team, if we find the buyer through our marketing efforts, is going to represent that person as a client as I represent you as a client. Feel free when it comes down to it to just read this thoroughly, which I really think you should. And let's move on to the next document. This is the exclusive seller brokerage engagement agreement. This is the contract that you're going to get with your real estate agent to allow them to sell your property. I'm going to breeze through this. Exclusive seller brokerage engagement agreement. Going to type in your address, okay? And then you're going to come down to the parcel ID number, and your real estate agent's going to fill this stuff in for you. It's going to be the tax parcel ID number that you get off the tax assessor's website. Just another way to make sure that when you purchase a home at the attorney's office, they make sure that when they pull the title, it's actually to the right property. Also, me personally, I come down here to number 2 and I pull the deed book and page. You just don't want anything to get screwed up. Then we can skip this stuff and come down to the list price and listing period. This right here, the list price is going to be what you go to market at. The commencement date is going to be the date of which you are going to agree for the contract. So say on today, May 22nd of 2023, would be the date of you signing. The end date agreement, typically here in the state of Georgia, you do about 6 months. However, I have something within when I work with somebody, okay? It's called my easy exit agreement. I don't hold anybody to a long-term contract. If I can't fulfill the obligations that I promised you when I came over to your house and told you what I was going to do, You're the employer, I'm the employee, you fire me. Okay. I'm not going to hold you accountable. I'm not going to say, oh, well, I got you because you signed a 6-month contract. Well, if I'm not doing my job, I don't deserve to have your business. That's how I feel. Other agents might feel different, but that's how I'm going to run my business. The nice thing about being an EXP Realty, with me being an independent contractor, I have to abide by real estate law and underneath my broker. But at the end of the day, I get to make a decision, and my decision is to not hold you to a contract if I'm not fulfilling my job. Also, real quick, this entire document, I do not get these handwritten. I have what literally I'm on right here, which is called dot loop. Um, it's electronic signatures. It has a timestamp, and it also has a serial code. So paperwork can't get screwed up. People can't lie. People can't cheat. People can't white out stuff. My very first real estate deal, I had somebody take advantage of me. They like photoshopped somehow on the contract, and the seller lost their earnest money. Seller got an amazing deal. They got a full price offer on their home. But the first offer that we got, which was that, I don't want that to ever happen to another client that I ever have. So that's me personally, how I feel about something. Marketing, number three, MLS services. So the MLS is a multiple listing service here in the state of Georgia. I'm personally a part of three. These are the ones that's going to be listed. Now within the MLS, only people with real estate licenses are going to be able to see this specifically, but this is me marketing to other real estate agents. There's currently 46,000 and some change real estate agents here in the state of Georgia. So when we go to market with your house, all the agents are going to know about your property. Okay, delivery of agreement and listing with the MLS. This is going to be the commencement date. So say we get signed on the 22nd, we agree that the house is going to be ready for photography by the 29th, and same day photos typically for who I use. So we could have a tentative date of the 29th that we're going to go to market. And I usually just put in 7 for 7 days. Just in case you come over and say, hey, I was super busy over the weekend, it's not going to be ready until Wednesday. This just gives us a buffer time within the contract to make sure that I'm marketing the house within the dates that we agree to. Come down to the commission. We're going to click this one for percent. I always charge 3%. And the reason being is I can't negotiate on my commission. It's just not what I'm willing to do. And the reason is I can't give you the experience that you deserve, because I have to pay my broker. I have to pay all my admin in my team. And also I have to pay for the marketing of your property. If I don't do that, I can't give you the results that I promised. And if I discount my commission, it's coming out of your marketing plan. I'm sorry. I got to feed my family, put food on the table. My broker is going to get the money. Also, my team's going to get the money that they deserve because I hire them and they do world-class work. So I personally charge 3%. However, we are going to come up with an agreement on what the buyer's agent's going to make. Typically, I always recommend 3%. And the reason being is it's not just so much of finding the buyer, it's finding a buyer's agent that's going to go fight for you to get you the best deal possible and make sure that we close. Now, the lowest I'm willing to do is 2% for the buyer's agent's commission. Anything lower than that, we're just not going to see a lot of buyer activity from buyer's agents. Or if you really want to incentivize them, we can do 3.5%. That's completely up to you. We're going to discuss that when I'm over at your property when I come to list your house. So on the contract, it's going to look something like this. Say you agree to pay me 3% and you agree to pay the buyer's agent 3%. It's going to be the 6% total. It's going to be the 3% of the sales price here. Commission adjustment to the cooperating broker. That's something that we'd have a separate conversation about if we want to change things. Separate commission on a lease. I don't do leases. Protected period. So the length of protected period as the term is herein defined by shall be blank days. Okay. Anything on this contract that you want to know about? So number 5, you come down to protected period and you read protected period. Protected period shall be the period of time which set forth in this agreement commencing upon the expiration or unilateral termination of the agreement by seller during the broker shall be protected for its commission or leasing commission as applicable. Long story short, you back out on the contract prior to us agreeing within a certain amount of days. You have to pay back the real estate brokerage. Okay. I usually do 30 days. That gives me enough time to order the professional photography, which I usually do same week. I take professional video. I do drone footage and I do marketing. And when it comes to marketing, I don't talk about it on the internet because it's what makes me special. Okay. It's the only thing that separates me from other agents. I'm on the forefront of the marketing efforts at all times. The newest, greatest, best things out on the market, leveraging AI technology, social media, demographic information to make sure that it gets to the right buyer. It doesn't matter if that buyer's in New York City looking to move down here to middle Georgia. I'm going to be targeting the person looking to buy a home within your radius and within the entire United States. When it comes to the data itself. So with all of the money that I spend on marketing, depending on the property, somewhere times it's upwards of 1% of my total commission. I give at least 30 days. I have to have that because if I spend well over $1,000 and you just randomly back out of the contract, I don't see that it's fair, especially with all the value that I'm about to provide you and the amount of money that I'm about to make you. Agency brokerage, just like I was saying, seller agency, right? Buyer agency. I do not do dual agency, sub agency, tenant agency, landlord agency. So you don't have to worry about those things. And then if broker offers dual agency as one of its agency relationships above, right? I just click does not. I'm not going to agree to that. I'm not going to represent both the buyer and the seller. Lead-based paint disclosure, we're going to go over that here in a second. If your house was built prior to 1978 here in the state of Georgia, you have to do what's called the lead-based paint disclosure, right? If it was constructed prior, right, you have to click prior. And then we're going to do exhibit 1. That's going to be exhibit 1 on the contract. Or if it was built after 1978, all we got to click is no. And then this is going to be for you personally. Seller has following special circumstances, right? Have you gone through bankruptcy, divorce? Is it going to be a short sale? This is something that we need to just talk about in person so I can make sure that I give you the best experience possible and I know your situation. If you're backed up on mortgage payments, tell me. If you went through bankruptcy, tell me. If you went through divorce, tell me. I'm not going to tell anybody about it. I'm not going to judge you any differently. It just needs to be out there so I can plan on how I'm going to market to your home and know the time frame in which we have to make sure that I can give you what you need. And what you need is more money, okay? Because you worked hard to buy that house. I want to make sure that you get the most for it. Number 9, give me the ability to sell your house, okay? So the seller does authorize the broker to assist to the extent requested by the seller, negotiate the terms of and filling out a pre-printed form contracts for seller's review and approval. I'm going to negotiate on your behalf. I'm not going to send you anything to sign without already going over it with you. And this is not me making decisions for you. Other than the fact of negotiating for the best deal possible, I will always go over the contracts with you to make sure that you know what's going on. And then, for example, right, just like we're talking about, 2A, list price. If you want to know what list price is, right, 2A, list price, scroll down and you read. And then this is contracts killing trees. And that's exactly what it was. You just look up for what you want. These brochures are some things that I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you the ABCs of agency, which was the first document we covered in the video. Say, the lead-based pamphlet because you were built in 1978 or before. Protect yourself when selling real property. I always give that one as well. It's a National Association of Realtor form that teaches you how to protect yourself when selling a house. You're probably going to get a lot of phone calls from wholesalers or scammers, and this is just going to be able to protect you a little bit more to make sure that you don't give your information out to the wrong people. Don't be giving your bank information out to somebody that's not the attorney. Don't be giving your bank account information to me. I'm your realtor. I'm marketing your home. I don't need to know about your bank account. Okay. Other than the fact, if you're just are at zero and we need to sell this house right now, that information is different. But those types of things are what I'm talking about. Special stipulations, if something changes within the contract that we need to be specific about, we'd add it here. And then this is where you sign. Name, date, phone number, email address, so the attorneys and everybody can get a hold of you. And that is it for the exclusive brokerage engagement agreement. So this is the lead-based paint exhibit here. If your house was built prior to 1978, this is something that you need to fill out. Just off the top of your mind, the information that comes to mind when reading this, make sure that you initial where it needs to be, right? Hazards of lead warning statement. If you don't think there's any lead-based paint or you don't know if there's any lead-based paint, you just check the boxes that say no. If you do, you check the boxes that say yes, and then you sign. And last but not least, the final document that I'm going to get sent over before I can list your property is going to be the seller's property disclosure statement. So this is going to give everything the buyer needs to know about your property, and this stuff needs to be what comes off of top of mind. If you want to do the buyer a service and dive into things that you don't know the answers but to be able to fill this out for them, it's going to be very, very helpful. Things like what year was the house actually built? Covenants and fees, right? Is it an HOA? Is it not? Is there lead-based paint, structural items and additions to alters, things that change? You can always go to the explanation if you want to say yes, and then you can dive into a little bit about it. Like, for example, right, has part of the HVAC system been replaced during the seller's ownership? You could hit yes, and then you could come down to the explanation right here and say, hey, we bought a brand new HVAC system in 2022. Sewer pumping related stuff, roof and gutters, right? Approximate age of the roof. Buyers are going to ask every single time, what's the age of the roof? What's the age of the water heater? What's the age of the HVAC system? Stuff like that. You know what I mean? It gives the buyer the ability to not play telephone with the agents, and it makes our life very, very easy. And also it gives the buyers a little bit more confidence because they can request this document from the agent that they're working with, and they can check it out before even taking a look at your home, which I always recommend, so they know what's going to happen up front, so they can go fall in love with the house and put in an offer. Just like soil and boundaries, termites, you know, if you've had any of those, different safety concerns, litigation, insurance, other hidden defects, if there's anything that you know about that's wrong with the property but might not be able to be seen, you can type in here additional explanations if needed. And then this one is going to be important. You need to click every single thing that you are going to keep with your house. Now, please, if you have a refrigerator in your kitchen and a refrigerator in the garage and you click refrigerator, freezer, you need to make sure that you go down and you clarify regarding multiple items, right? You can say the one in the kitchen staying, the refrigerator in the kitchen staying, but the refrigerator in the garage is going. Don't want to have to argue at the closing table or after closing, the buyer gets the house, takes possession, and all of a sudden stuff's not there. Once you close, you want to get your check, walk your separate way, and filling out this document, the seller's property disclosure statement, is going to be one of those documents that allows you to do just that. You're going to sign here, and once we're under contract, the buyer is going to go through this, acknowledge everything that was on here, sign it, and we are going to bind it to the listing agreement and the purchase and sale agreement. So all the documents together. And that's it for this video. This is going to be the longest video, but understanding a listing agreement is something that's really important. I like to get it out right in the front so we don't have to sit across the kitchen table for 30 minutes and I make you nervous about signing big old contracts, right? And of course, I do mine digitally. So if you want any of these contracts, just send me a text message at 478-888-7808 and we can get started on the journey of selling your home.